Chicks dig the long ball. The Astros are definitely making a love connection with Houston fans. Rick Ankiel and J.D. Martinez were the latest to contribute to a victory with big early inning home runs. A guy who could use that kind of contribution is Phil Umber, looking for a fourth straight quality start on the anniversary of perfection. Time to double down on Astros baseball starting now. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet. Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight it's Game 2 of a 3-game series. The Astros meet the Cleveland Indians. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby. We saw a 3-2 Astros win last night. That snapped their 5-game losing streak and handed the Indians their 5th straight loss. Ash?
Not a bad thing to do when you're riding a losing streak yourself. But the Indians come in, they're a team that's been struggling. Obviously, they've had some problems driving in men in scoring position, and injuries have been a big part of what's gone on for the Indians early on.
The Astros got a starting pitching from Lucas Harrell that put them in a good position. Then the bullpen was almost airtight, and some long balls early.
It's exactly the formula that seems to work well for this ball club, especially when they get some runs early, and the home runs never hurt in that regard. That's opening night when Rick Ankiel had the pinch hit 3-run home run against the Texas Rangers and the 1 win in that series. Club moved on to Seattle. Chris Carter got in the act a couple of times in one ball game, first time he's done that, and just tore it up. And then moving on to Anaheim, it was Maxwell with the big home run. Last night, J.D. Martinez going the other way. And these early in the ball game and giving the club leads that the bullpen and even the starting staff able to hold on to.
So that's been a common influence on the wins, home runs in each, and they hope that continues tonight. And especially Phil Umber, because he's only had 1 run of support in his 3 starts.
Isn't that something? He's pitched so well, and yet you look at the numbers on Philip Umber. He's 0-3 on the season, but dig deeper, please, because he has pitched very well. You see just 4 walks while he strikes out man after man here. Not walking many, not giving up the long ball. He's allowed just 1 home run, and very impressive because last year he allowed 23 home runs in just over 100 innings. Philip Umber pitching like a man who deserves some W's.
Coming up, Jose Altuve, who sizzles through the early part of the season, has a bobblehead coming tonight for these fans at Minute Maid Park. We'll hear more from Julia Morales next.
The Astros hosting the Cleveland Indians in the second of a 3-game series, and we're close to game time, and I have a very special guest with me right now. Jose Altuve joining me on Altuve Bobblehead Night. This is a big night. I know you've seen it, but we're going to show it to you again. What do you think, Jose?
I like it. It looks like me.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you
At least he has my jersey.
Do you ever stand like this? What I want to know.
I like it.
Good. Well, what does it mean for you to have a bobblehead night like this and for them to celebrate you?
No, that means a lot. I remember the first time I came to Minute Maid Park when I won the MVP award in the Rookie League. I came here, I watched a game, and they were giving away the Ivan Rodriguez bobblehead, and I took a lot, and I bring it to my house, and all my family, they were really happy, and now they just remind me that, hey, you remember we have a Ivan Rodriguez bobblehead now, we want yours. You're in his spot right now. I feel really good about that, and we have a game tonight. We're going to try to win it and, have a good day.
So you have to get a bunch of these for your family, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're asking me a lot for bobblehead, and I have to give it away.
Well, I'm sure they can get you some. Let's talk about your year so far and how well you've been doing. Getting on base, that's your on-base percentage over 400 right now. You're doing what you're supposed to do at leadoff. How do you feel in that position?
No, I feel really good. Like I said before, I just want to come to the field and see my name in the lineup. I'm going to feel pretty comfortable. I know I have good guys hitting behind me. That's why I like to get on base to let them the heavy job, to have the ball, and I can score some runs. At the end of the day, have a good day as a team and win the game.
Defensively, highlights last night, but it seems like every night you two, or you and Marwin or you and Ronnie Cedeno work really well down the middle. How's that relationship here with your other infielders?
No, I think that's really important, the communication that we have right now. We've been talking a lot about baseball. When we're in the field, outside the field, we just talk about those plays, about the hitter, the runners. Every time we just anticipate the play, and I think that's why we're doing a really good job out there.
Well, good luck tonight.
No, thank you.
Coming up here on Comcast Sportsnet, Houston, we've got the Astros trying to take this series from the Cleveland Indian. Philip Umber facing another Texas native on the mound tonight. Stay with us. First pitch around the break.
Maid Park, it's game 2 of a 6-game homestand. The Cleveland Indians and the Houston Astros getting set to play for the second time this season. Here is the starting lineup for Terry Francona's club. Michael Brantley leads it off. He's the left fielder with Jason Kipnis at second base, as Drupal Cabrera, the shortstop, bats third. The cleanup man is right fielder Nick Swisher. with Jason Giambi, the DH, Carlos Santana, the catcher, Mark Reynolds at first base, Lonnie Chisenhall at third base, Drew Stubbs, the center fielder. Their pitcher is Scott Cadden.
On the mound for the Astros tonight, right-hander Philip Humber. He's 0-3, yeah, but he's pitched very well. That ERA 2.89. One rough start in there just a little bit, but only 4 walks, 1 home run allowed in 18 2/3 innings. His numbers are the numbers, quite frankly, of a pitcher who could be 2-1, 3-0 on the season.
Now Bradley gets it started. Michael 0 for 4 with a walk in last night's game. Taking strike 1 on the inside edge from Philip Humber, who is 0-2 in his career against the Tribe with an 8.74 ERA in 7 games, 5 as a starter. Bradley led off last night in the absence of the injured Michael Bourne. He's on the 15-day disabled list with 5 stitches in his right index finger. 1-1 for Humber. Leads the staff in ERA. This fly ball hits for left center field. Maxwell over and on the warning track. Good running catch by Justin.
Defense behind Philip Humber. Doing the catching tonight, Carlos Corporan. Around the infield from first to third, Brandon Laird, Jose Altuve, Ronnie Cedeno, and Matt Dominguez. And in the outfield, Justin Maxwell is flanked in center by Brandon Barnes in right and Chris Carter in left.
Beautiful sunny night here. And as you can see, the first baseman might have some problems for a while with that sun in his eyes. Jason Kipnis returned from an injury last night. His manager, Terry Francona, thought he moved around very well. 167 for Kipnis with 2 runs batted in. But he had 2 hits and a walk and stole a base last night. And Francona really liked the way he was moving around.
Looks like early on, Philip Humber has the paintbrush out. He's working on the corners pretty well.
Yeah. Line drive is into right field for a single for Kipnis. And the Tribe, which got 2 runs on 8 hits last night, gets the first hit of this game. Kipnis aboard for Cabrera now.
Might have been the changeup. Looked like Kipnis was on in front, but able to extend the bat through the zone with that one arm and get to it.
Kipnis aboard. Cabrera's the batter. Switch hitting shortstop with a 138 average, has 2 homers, 3 runs batted in. Asdrubal was 1 for 3, and that hit was a double. He also drew a walk in last night's game. Double play depth for Cedeno and Altuve. Dominguez way off the line at third. 0-1 to Cabrera. Cabrera's a 2-time All-Star. He is 4 for 10 in his career against Philip Humber. He had a first inning double last night. The Tribe stranding 9 in that 3-2 loss. And Cleveland is hitting .213 with runners in scoring position so far this year. The liner hits for the gap in left center field. Maxwell over. Here's Kipnis going first to third. The throw goes in towards second. That's a single for Cabrera. First and third, 1 out for the Indians with Swisher batting next.
Asdrubal Cabrera had been in a miserable funk leading into last night's game. Swung the bat better, everybody felt. And again, this may have been the changeup. Good hitting. Driving it out to left center field.
Kipnis going first to third. And now Swisher.
Numbers on Philip Humber on the year. Very impressive against make that right-hand hitters. And we've seen a couple of left-hand hitters with hits here in the inning, and they've hit .387. But those right-handed bats, 128 on the season. Here's another lefty.
Yeah, Nick Swisher, a cleanup man with 2 homers, 6 runs batted in, has a .275 batting average in his first year with the Indians, coming as a free agent who played for the Yankees last year. Last night he had a walk and a double. There's strike 1. Terry Francona was talking in his media gathering in the Indians dugout before batting practice today about their offensive woes, and he feels that several of their hitters are simply trying to do too much right now. That's a strike to Swisher, who typically goes deep into counts. Right now he's behind 0-2 in this one.
You throw early strikes as a starting pitcher in particular, and despite what the opposing hitters might want to do trying to get deep into counts. You'll force their hand, force them to swing early.
Humber misses with that one on Swisher. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Swisher's 0 for 4 lifetime against Humber, the 30-year-old native of Nacogdoches, Texas, who lives in Tyler now. Had quite a career at Rice University, going 35-8 there, and he was a first-round pick of the New York Mets in 04, the 3rd player drafted. That's a foul ball, and it's still a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Carlos Corporan, the catcher, was setting up that outside target. His left foot outside the catching box. Mike DeMuro is the home plate umpire. The Indians are 5-10. They've lost 5 in a row. The Astros are 5-11. Dan Molino, Ted Barrett, Alfonso Marquez also on this crew. Swisher hits a foul ball, and this one will go back into those sun splash seats down the first base line. Very bright evening here, and it has been just perfect temperature today.
What a gorgeous day.
Yeah.
Clouds just now.
Six runs scored in 15 games, ranked 13th in the American League. They just started a 10-game road trip last night. Fly ball out to right center field. That's in for a hit, and the Indians grab the lead. Maxwell over to play it. Swisher into second. And it's 1-0 on a play at second that Swisher avoids the tag to Ronnie Cedeno and hustles it into a double. That's his 4th double of the year. He picks up RBI number 7 to make it 1-0, and Cabrera takes 3rd.
With the last 2 hitters, the Indians have found the gaps where the Astros are not positioned. Maxwell has had a long way to go and really no chance to get to these balls. Previous one by Cabrera to left center, this to right center.
Perfect throw might have had him, but as you mentioned, Maxwell had to go a long way to get to that ball. Now runners at second and third, 1 out for Jason Giambi. Giambi is 3rd among active players with 430 homers. This ball 1 to Giambi. He's had just 12 at bats, and he has 1 home run this season. Giambi last night was 0 for 4. He struck out with 2 men on to end the first inning. Humber misses there to fall behind him. 2 balls, no strikes. And then Terry Francona was talking about Giambi's 8th inning at bat. Swisher had led off with a double. The Indians trailed by 1. Giambi was trying to pull the ball to the right side to advance him. He wound up with a pop up to third.
Turned out to be one of the key outs of the ball game to get that first out and not have the runner move up.
Giambi works the count to 3-0. You see the designated hitter batting averages. He's at .083 alongside Kelly Johnson.
Humber's starting to miss up in and out of the strike zone a bit.
Giambi smacks one a long way to right center field. This one has some lift on it. It hits the base of the wall. That'll score 2. Giambi in with a 2-run double, a 3-0 Indian lead. He sent that one a long way deep into right center field for Giambi, and the Tribe has scored 3 early.
And again, an Indians hitter finding the gap that is broadest presented here early in the ball game. Humber on the 3-0 comes with the predictable fastball, and Jason Giambi's been around long enough for Terry Francona to give the green light to, and he makes it pay off. You can see that big gap in right center field, and he splits it perfectly.
Cabrera and Swisher come home, and they've had 4 consecutive hits now off Humber. That prompts a visit from Doug Brocail, the pitching coach. Umber coming into this game with that 2.89 ERA had not given up more than 3 earned runs in any start for the Astros. So now 3 runs already have come home, and he's facing Santana with only 1 out in the inning. Santana has been the best hitter for the Tribe. 375, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. He was 0 for 3 with a walk last night. Ball 1 from Umber.
Interesting that Umber recently has made some comments about the fact that, yes, he's pitched really well and has nothing to show with the 0-3 record. But he says, you know, there are times during the season where you don't pitch as well as you can and you'll get picked up by the offense. And I'm sure he hopes that's the case here this evening.
2 balls, no strikes to Santana. Santana has reached base in 22 of his 47 plate appearances for a .468 on base percentage. Umber misses there and falls behind him 3-0 as he did Giambi.
6th consecutive left-handed bat coming up to start the game for the Indians. And again, those numbers heavily weigh toward favor for the hitters, left-handers against Umber.
Santana's 5 for 8 against Umber with a homer. That's in for a strike. Yeah, that's quite a differential. As you pointed out earlier, right-handers 128 against Umber, left-handed hitters 387.
Unusual stance there by Santana, putting that right lead foot, just the toe on the ground. Helps guys in some cases to keep the weight loaded back on the backside.
He draws a walk, and that brings up Mark Reynolds. Reynolds, the slugging first baseman, driven in 13.
And now finally that right-handed bat to face takes 7 hitters in to get it.
They are stacked on their lineup with these left-handed batters. Reynolds had 2 hits and a walk in last night's game. Playing first base tonight. This is his 6th start at that position. He started 8 games at DH. And in tight, and a foul tip, actually. He's looking down. He dropped the bat. That's strike 1. Apparently he thought he got hit. He's looking down at his right elbow. Let's see it.
Starts that front shoulder opening up, and that drags the bat through, and a lot of times, even if it hits you and not the bat, it leaves a question mark, and one the home plate umpire has to respond to very quickly.
He had a look on his face that looked like a look of somebody who might have been grazed by a pitch. Francona making his point with Mike DeMuro.
Let's see what we see. Everything starts to open. The bat starts to drag out. And you could almost say it could have hit both. Maybe bat and upper arm going by. Could have been one or the other.
If it hit the bat first, and it's a foul ball.
Yeah. Reynolds acting like maybe it hurt, but sure didn't look like it would have hurt had it caught any piece of that uniform.
Drive to left field. That one's headed for the seats. And Mark Reynolds takes the tour on a 3-run homer. As the Indians explode here in the first inning with a 6-run frame. That's his 6th of the year, giving him 16 runs batted in. 6-0 Indians.
Yeah, we talked about Mark Reynolds last night. He's just a monster. A guy that can hit a ball as far as anybody in the game today. He'll strike out a ton, but it goes in the direction of Mark Reynolds this time. He says, I got a hit on the previous pitch, but I have a feeling he's happy about the decision. Just a hanging slider. Didn't look like he got all of it, but he, again, is so strong.
Lonnie Chisenhall bats next. Strike to Chisenhall, a 205 hitter with 2 homers. 8 runs batted in. Dallas Keuchel begins to get loose for the Astros. Chisenhall hit a 2-run homer for both the Indians' runs last night, going 1 for 4. Smacks this one on the ground. Pass to diving Brandon Laird into the right field corner. Heading for second base. Brandon Barnes throw. And that's a double for Chisenhall. The Indians tattooing the ball here at Minute Maid Park in the first inning.
They are certainly splitting the gaps. It's one of those innings offensively that you can't realistically explain. It's part of what takes place over a 162-game schedule.
Drew Stubbs is next with one out. There have been 6 hits, 4 for extra bases, 3 doubles and a homer by the Tribe in this frame. Stubbs, the number 9 hitter, will carry a .213 average to the plate with 3 runs batted in. Last start, 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs. Tonight, 1/3 of an inning, 6 hits, 6 earned runs for Philip Umber. The Astros had 2 disastrous starts in the series in Oakland, in which their starting pitcher could not get out of the first inning. So Keuchel warming up. Number 1 hitter Bradley on deck, and Stubbs the batter with a runner at second and 1 out. He cracks one, and there's a diving stop by Altuve and a throw to first. Not in time. Tremendous play by Altuve, but Stubbs picks up hit number 7 of the inning.
That's an unbelievable play. Popping up very quickly, trying to get that out at first base. Drew Stubbs runs well, but watch this. What a layout. This guy is playing it offensively and defensively as well as you can do it.
Very good timing on that dive. It's awfully hard to dive and then get up and throw out somebody from behind second base. But he gave it his best shot. Now Michael Bradley with runners at first and second. He hit the warning track fly ball to Maxwell in the first inning. And that's ball 1. The Astros had a string of good starts with low ERAs by their starting pitchers going into that Oakland series. That's a high drive to right center field. That sends Barnes on a long run. And that will be extra bases as well. At least 1 run will score and make it 2. It's 8-0 Cleveland. Bradley winds up at second base.
What do you do if you're Philip Umber? You've been pitching really good baseball. Consistently solid. You come out for the first inning. He had to feel prepared tonight, and this happens. See your teammates loosen it up, and it just loosens everybody in the lineup. And again, a gap is found.
Dallas Keuchel will come in. Monday, Eric Bedard went 1/3 of an inning in Oakland, gave up 6 earned runs. And Wednesday, Bud Norris in Oakland went 2/3 of an inning and gave up 6 earned runs. And now tonight, another rough start to 3rd and 4 games for an Astros starting pitcher. It's 8-0 Cleveland. Back in a moment. There's still only one out. Brantley made that out, leading off the game, and then 4 straight hits, a walk, and now 4 more hits in the inning. It's a barrage of extra base hits in the Indians' attack. That brings in Dallas Keuchel with an ERA of 1.13.
And quickly, you think back to that first out. You mentioned Michael Brantley flying out to left center field, a long run and near the wall as that catch was made by Maxwell. For Keuchel, 25 years of age, in 3 games so far this season, 8 innings of work, allowing a run. That's an ERA of 1.13, so he's pitched well. And now faces this predominantly left-handed lineup, although some switch hitters in the mix.
So Kipnis makes it lefty on lefty here. He's single to right. And that's a strike. And the Astros had talked about wanting a left-handed long man for this very reason, that if they started a right-handed pitcher and the opposing team was stacked with left-handed hitters, that would give their lefty reliever something of an edge. But then you run into the other philosophy, Ash. It's a feeding frenzy for all the hitters now. They're all just jumping to get up to home plate.
Yeah, it is one of those nights. You have that first inning where everybody starts raking away and you just can't wait to get to the plate.
It's a bouncer and picked up in the short hop by Laird. 2 outs, Brantley to third.
Not a bad play by Laird, just stepping in, taking hold of that big first baseman's glove, and gets a short hopper that he handles well. Michael's last time out, a big double play there, started by Altuve, and an effective left-hander to this point for the club.
Cabrera is one of those switch hitters Ash talked about. Now he turns around after having hit from the left side and singling to left center field. That's in the dirt and blocked by Corcoran. Ball 1 from Dallas Keuchel. Tough, obviously, for a guy in Keuchel's shoes who goes out to the bullpen. He knows he's the long man. He knows there's a possibility that he could come in this game early. Hardly figures he's going to be coming in with 1 out in the first inning.
What a luxury for Indians manager Terry Francona to have 3 switch hitting bats right in the heart of that order. Cabrera, Swisher, and Santana.
It really is. Pretty unusual. 2 balls and no strikes.
I imagine that Terry Francona would tell you there hasn't been a whole lot of luxury enjoyed to this point on the season.
Not at 5 and 10. 2 balls and a strike.
I don't know what the Indians felt they had coming out of spring training. I think they're a club that is trying to move forward and get better. But I don't think they realistically felt they had a contending club immediately, although you never know. You watch what some teams do on a given season, it's always a possibility.
Other fans were encouraged by the wintertime moves they made, including Francona.
Yes.
3-1, and the usual rave reviews are coming about his work in the clubhouse with the players.
Players love him, and that can sound, I think, to some fans like maybe not necessarily a good thing, but I think they feel like they really wanted to have a manager that communicated with them and that they can relate to, and that's who Terry Francona appears to be.
That's tapped, and Altuve will track it to his left and toss over to Laird. To end a very long first inning for Astros fans. 8 runs scoring for the Indians on 8 hits, and they lead 8-0 after 1/2 inning. By Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. On this gorgeous night in downtown Houston, Houston native left-hander Scott Kazmir comes in for his first start with the Indians, just coming off the disabled list to make this start tonight. He has not won a game in the major league since 2010 as a member of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Here's the lineup he'll be facing tonight. Bull Porter has put Jose Altuve into the leadoff spot as usual at second base. It's Justin Maxwell in center field. Brandon Laird just up from AAA Oklahoma City is the first baseman, with Chris Carter in left field, Carlos Pena the DH, Carlos Corpora in the catcher, Ronnie Cedeno at shortstop, Matt Dominguez at third base, Brandon Barnes in right field.
Left-hander Scott Kazmir, local product on the hill for the Indians, making his debut on the season. Last year, pitched as one of the Sugarland Skeeters, trying to make his way back to the big leagues. It has worked out, though he has had a little injury problem since spring training. So again, his first appearance on this season. Last time pitching, that came a year ago with the Angels, and he pitched in just one ball game, 1 2/3 innings in that outing.
Jose Altuve has put together a 5-game hitting streak. He has the best batting average among major league second basemen, .358 right now. And he has really feasted on left-handers. There is strike one to Altuve. Has a .403 on base average. The Astros trail 8-0 as they come for the first time to the plate. Fouled back, 0-2. That is a huge deficit, but they have 9 innings worth of at-bats coming up. Kazmir has had one rehab start in the minor leagues. He went 5 innings in that one, throwing 62 pitches. So he'll be monitored carefully. That's a liner to left field. And Bradley off his glove and then off the wall. And Altuve's hustling to second. And he will slide in to open this game with either an error or a 2-base hit, but he hustled all the way. Bradley certainly misplayed it.
He did misplay it, but this line drive will force many an outfielder to misplay a ball. Directly over the head of the outfielder on a line drive is the most difficult play. A lot of outfielders will tell you.
It was hit well.
It was that, and it freezes the left fielder.
That was an error. And that's the first error for Michael Bradley. Justin Maxwell taking that pitch, ball one. Looks like we have a change at shortstop for the Tribe. Maxwell at .254 with 1 homer, has driven in 5. Mike Aviles has checked in at shortstop for Cleveland. As Drupal Cabrera went 1 for 2 in that first inning. He ran the bases when he got a single, went from first to third, and then scored, and then he grounded out for the last out. So he checks out of this ball game, and it's Aviles in the game. Maxwell looks at that one from Kazmir. And it's a 2-ball 1-strike count for J-Max, who had put together an 8-game hitting streak. Since then, he's tailed off some. .254, 1 homer, and 5 runs batted in.
For Jose Altuve with that line shot, home cooking doesn't exactly play out for him.
In the air, and the second sacker heads for the right field line, Jason Kipnis, but behind him, it's Nick Swisher with the catch. 1 out.
And not a sure thing catch right there for Nick Swisher, who stands just frozen before coming up with the big smile and then heading back to right.
Quite a spring for Brandon Laird.
Brandon Laird just tore it up, and when he got sent down, was told that he didn't deserve to be sent down. And Bull Porter, very honest in his appraisal. Clearly, Brandon Laird did all a guy could do to make a big league club. It was a numbers situation.
And then he went to Oklahoma City after a .328 spring and hit .353 with 18 hits, including 2 homers there and 51 at bats. So anything but sulking. He just got to work and produced some fine results.
Just go do the job. Don't talk, don't whine. Get it done, and you'll find yourself playing soon.
Well, sure enough, he is back quickly, quicker than he thought, he said. That's because J.D. Martinez is on the disabled list now, and that leads to Fernando Martinez coming back up. And so the Astros are getting hit with some injuries now.
Brandon Laird during the spring was vying for the first and third base spots. Well, Matt Dominguez has been pretty solid at third base. I think that's safe to say. So that was locked up, and first base was loaded.
2 balls and 1 strike, and with Brett Wallace going to Oklahoma City, that opens up some playing time at first for Brandon Laird. The Bull Porters Club making some changes here on the fly, including left-handed reliever Travis Blackley. And Laird was promoted to the game last night. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Xavier Cedeno had been designated for assignment. Laird was a non-roster player, and that's when he got promoted. Laird was with the New York Yankees. They drafted him in '07. Kazmir gets a strikeout for out number 2.
Kazmir turns consistently there to the off-speed pitches to get the strikeout. And the defense behind Kazmir, Carlos Santana the catcher, around the infield Mark Reynolds, Jason Kipnis as Drupal Cabrera was the starter. And we mentioned Mike Aviles now at shortstop, Lonnie Chisenhall at third, in the outfield Drew Stubbs in center. Nick Swisher will be in right, and in left Michael Brantley.
Chris Carter is the batter. He was 0 for 3 in last night's game. Carter had a walk in the 3rd inning. Kazmir throws, and there's strike 1. He was pitching, as Ash mentioned, last year for the Sugar Land Skeeters, an independent team in Sugar Land, Texas, a suburb of Houston. He made 13 starts for the Skeeters, working his way back to the major leagues this year. Jason Lane also pitched for that club, the former outfielder with the Astros, and he's on a minor league contract in the Minnesota Twins organization.
Scott Kazmir, when he was drafted in early years in the big leagues, a very hard thrower. In fact, 2007, 239 strikeouts in just 206 innings. Madwell pitching with Tampa Bay. He was with Tampa Bay in their lean years and missed out on the big years.
He's a 2-time All-Star. Has 66 major league wins, 61 losses. Ground ball to third. And the throw across to the stretching Reynolds from Chisenhall takes care of out number 3. No runs, no hits, an error, and a man left. 8-0 Indians.
Quote of the day: I don't aspire to be anybody but who I've always been. I just want young guys to see a guy who works hard, who has great respect for the game, who has team goals that matter. And you hope that's enough. And of course, that's from Jeff Bagwell, one of the greats, not only in the Astros history, but in the history of this great game. Jeff Bagwell was some kind of special player. And if he popped up, you watch him run home to second base, it was consistent and impressive. But so were these long blasts.
One of the retired numbers, number 5 atop the scoreboard, out in right center field. Inning number 2 begins with switch hitting Nick Swisher. Swisher had the RBI double to right center in the first inning. And there's ball 1 for Dallas Keuchel. The Tribe sent 12 batters to the plate in the first with 8 runs on 8 hits. 1 ball, 1 strike. They had 5 extra base hits, a Reynolds 3-run homer, and 4 doubles, including the 2-run shot by Brantley. Now this one loops over shortstop. That's a hit into left center field for Swisher, and he's 2 for 2 in the early going.
Yeah, when they're going to fall, they're going to fall. And that's just all there is to it. You can hit them off the end of the bat, off the handle, maybe on the knob sometimes. It appears to be, at least early on, one of those nights for the Tribe.
There's their production in that first inning. Keuchel worked 3 scoreless innings in his last appearance Tuesday night in Oakland. And he comes into this with 6 consecutive scoreless innings, covering 3 appearances. And Giambi looks at ball 1. Dallas is 25 years old. He's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Went to the University of Arkansas. The Astros drafted him in the 7th round in 2009. The shift is on for Giambi. It's a 2-ball, no strike count. Dallas last year had very good numbers at Minute Maid Park, making 10 starts in this ballpark with a 3-3 record and a 2.95 ERA. All 3 of his major league wins right here last year. It's a 3-ball, no strike count on Giambi.
Following that base hit by Nick Swisher, he stood at first base and kind of wrapped his arm around first baseman for the Astros tonight, Brandon Laird, and the 2 were together in the Yankees camp at some time, and so I'm sure a relationship formed there.
Yeah. 3-1.
Maybe saying, you know, I've seen what you can do and you're going to make it. Just keep it all positive.
That's ball 4, and now runners are at first and second with nobody out. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Now it's Santana coming up. Santana walked and scored in the first inning. Travis Blackley just joined the Astros tonight, just activated from the 15-day disabled list. He is another left-handed long man. He's been out with a left shoulder strain. He made 1 rehab appearance for AAA Oklahoma City on Thursday, working 2 innings. So he is available for use tonight. Paul Clemens is the right-handed long man. So the Astros do have some relievers who can stay in a game for a while. Reiner Cruz has been piling up appearances. There's strike 1. Cruz has pitched 9 times already in the first 16 games. On a night like this, the way things have gone early, and managers always like to put together their bullpen for a given game from the back forward. So it would be unusual to see a Reiner Cruz unless there's a major turnaround in this score. One of those nights, you know, sometimes a manager has an agenda. Ash, you manage, and that agenda is, well, I don't want to use Reiner Cruz unless I have to tonight.
Exactly on the money, and the guys out in the bullpen know it. If you're not the closer or setup guy, you're already trying to get yourself loose because you know that call is coming for you some point in the evening.
And ball goes foul past Brad Mills, the third base coach, former Astros skipper. Very happy to be back in Houston. His phone was ringing at 8 a.m. They arrived at 3 a.m.
That wasn't the good part of the trip so far. He was still sleeping.
But no, he absolutely loved his stay here. Now back with Terry Francona after being his bench coach in Boston. He's his third base coach in Cleveland. That's tapped near the third base line. Brad Mills is almost, he's very close to the Indians dugout. He's giving himself a lot of perspective. The way he backs off that third base line, trying to get an angle to help him make a decision with that runner at second base.
If you're that runner at second base, the best thing a third base coach can do for you is move down the line toward home plate. And that's what Mills is doing, he's pre-setting up. Maybe he's figured I don't have the wheels and the quickness anymore. Well, let's do it with the positioning.
Boy, he's crouched down almost as if he's a base runner.
He ought to. I think what that is all about is he knows he has to react quickly, turn and look at the hitter, because he's positioned himself without a glove about 60 feet from home plate. That's not a good place to be with a right-hand hitter, especially.
You almost shake hands with Terry Francona from where he is.
Yeah, you watch. He reacts, turns toward the hitter.
Dominguez drops it and throws late, and that's his first error. He had made 57 chances this year without making an error. And it's one of those games when things like that, the concentration can wane a little bit, and he just did not make an easy play.
No, he's so gifted with the glove. He tends to go after balls one-handed and handles them so routinely, but you could see the eyes had already turned towards second base where he was going to throw, trying to set up a double play, and it just didn't happen. In fact, I think he may have even been wondering, should he apply a tag to Swisher. That semi-slowly hit ground ball kind of creates that in-between.
It sure does. Reynolds, who ripped the 3-run homer to the Landry's Crawford boxes, takes ball one. A single walk and error. Things spiraling against the Astros here. That's a broken bat pop-up into shallow center field. Altuve out. Altuve with a sliding attempt does not make the catch. 1 run scores to make it 9-0 on a pop fly single with a broken bat of Reynolds, who's driven in 4.
Well, as we've already said, it's one of those nights, it appears, for the Indians where you can shatter your bat on top of everything else we discussed and still come up with hits that drive in runs. It's a great effort by Altuve and Ronnie Cedeno. Altuve ultimately trying to lay out to make the play, but there are those nights.
Lonnie Chisenhall double to right field. There's strike 1 to Chisenhall. Philip Humber's ERA, including this game, went from 2.89 to 6.63. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Keuchel.
It's not fair to pitchers. For a hitter, once you establish some numbers on the year, and it's still early, but you might have an 0 for 4, 0 for 5 night where you drop 8, 10 points, or this time of the year maybe a little more. But for a pitcher, it can be a disaster statistically.
2-1. Yeah, sometimes a short reliever will come in and give up a crooked number, have 5 appearances for the year, and that'll just blow up his ERA. Foul ball makes it 2 balls, 2 strikes.
With that left-handed reliever that makes about 60+ appearances on the year, but only about 40 innings. And so you have one rough one in there, maybe a couple. It's just destruction on the year.
Keuchel's thrown 29 pitches. He threw 38 pitches in 3 scoreless innings last time. He gets a swing and a miss from Chisenhall. And that's out number 1.
Well, that's not a pitch you're going to do much with over the course of your career. And as a pitcher, Dallas Keuchel hopes he gets some swings on it.
28-year-old Drew Stubbs from Atlanta, Texas. Reached on that infield hit up the middle earlier in the first inning. Strike 1 to Stubbs. Very talented player in terms of power and speed. Indians parted with Shin-Soo Choo in the trade to get him. There's a shot into right field. That'll score Giambi. Stop sign for Santana to make it 10-0. Stubbs with the RBI single drives in his 4th.
How's your scorebook coming, Bronny?
It's a mess. It's a hot mess, Ash.
You hope for those messes, but on the flip side, you hope the club you're covering is just having one of those nights. Boy, that was pretty hitting. Nicely done defensively if you want to look at everything that way. Throw comes in right to the cutoff man.
As Dribble Cabrera left the game with a left wrist contusion. Just got that announcement. Now Michael Brantley. Brantley looks at ball one. Brantley batting for the second time in the first inning. Had the 2-run double to right center field. So now if you're keeping a scorecard, this is where it gets tricky, right? You had his first inning at bat, his second one in the second inning. Now you have his second inning at bat in the third inning on your scorecard. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It looks uglier than that on my card here.
Yeah. It's a 2 ball, 1 strike count.
Michael Brantley, the son of a former Major League player, Mickey Brantley.
Michael's a good defensive player. It was uncharacteristic of him to make an error like he did on Altuve's ball. He's played a lot of center field, right, Ash?
Yeah, and he runs well. He looks like a center fielder, a guy that can go get it.
Well, a relatively unfamiliar ballpark. And he just kind of froze on that line drive. He didn't get his shoulders turned.
I'll contend that that line drive at but over an outfielder is the one that will just freeze over and over many an outfielder. And if you don't actually get your glove on it, you wind up seeing the hit called, and Altuve just simply didn't benefit.
Right. Brantley's going to turn 26 in mid-May from Bellevue, Washington. He takes a walk to force in a run, and it's 11-0. 3 runs batted in the game for Brantley.
Well, it really gets ugly when, as a lefty, you walk a left-handed hitter with the bases loaded and start adding to this mess early.
Santana scores. Jason Kipnis follows. Kipnis is 1 for 2. Well, the Indians in that AL Central are going to have to battle some talented teams like Detroit and the White Sox, and Kansas City, to many, is a much improved team this year. Twins seem to be a ways away. That's strike 1.
And yet the Twins have been handing out some tough days for other clubs of late.
They have. You know, the Tribe with that 5-10 start is hoping for much better days ahead. Losing last night 3-2, and perhaps in the process losing starter Brett Myers. He is suffering from tendonitis in his right forearm, and he'll be heading back to Cleveland tomorrow for an exam. Bouncer Keuchel. He comes home for the first play. Corcoran to first and hit the runner and bounce